Hi, hello everyone.
Hello.
Uh,
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the sixth Tech Talk that we organize here in 46 Elks. We are very glad for everyone to join, pitch in, comment. Today we're going to talk about juniors in IT, so beginners, beginnings in the IT industry. So, very general topic. We're going to try to kind of cover it, see what advice perhaps we can give to someone that is just starting out or is planning to get into the IT industry, or someone that has already went through the hurdles and wants to hear someone else's experience. So I welcome Anton, Jesper, Eric. Eric is not an elk, so he's a person that is a guest here right now. The rest of us are working for 46 Elks. Eric is our guest here, so we will let him introduce himself firstly. Eric, can you share a bit about yourself before we get started? And yeah, go on.
Yeah, of course. So, hi everybody. First of all, thank you for inviting me here. My name is Eric. I'm from Rijeka, Croatia, and I am a front-end web developer. I uh, let's say I'm a freelancer, and together with my colleague, I work for other companies. We usually work as external associates, and we cover both front end and back end. And at the same time, I'm still in the university. So
Oh,
yeah, I I know what it's like to be a junior. So because I still am kind of a junior, mid junior developer. So,
mhm. So you're still a student, you're still participating in the studies, and at the same time, you have opened up your company, you are freelancing, you have a partner with that. And how is that going? How can you manage the both worlds?
well, it's stressful from time to time, but it's worth it, because I'm a type of person that can't just sit and do nothing. I like working and programming, so it's not that hard when you do something that you love.
Hmm. So, yeah. Uh, Jesper, can I ask you a bit about your first experiences in IT? We will go about and ask everyone. I can go first if you want, but can you share a bit what were your experiences in IT during the childhood years, during the high school? Did you have any experiences before that? What was going on?
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't have much experience before I started university, actually. Um, a lot of my friends went to the education that and like they started a year before me. So I figured if they can do it, so maybe I'm able to do it as well. So I started learning coding at the university. Before that, maybe you can count making levels in games and like music development.
Hmm.
That's kind of programming, I think. Like basic building blocks, moving them around.
So yeah,
And
perhaps Minecraft, or what did you do exactly? Minecraft, or I think
like
that kids nowadays are into Roblox, for example.
yeah, uh, I think I made levels in Mod Nation Racers. It's
Oh,
pretty. It was very simple level editor and that Age of Empires stuff like that.
cool. So yeah, uh, thank you, Esper. Anton, what were your experiences? What were your experiences when it comes to IT and programming?
Like my general experiences or from early
Like
childhood or
before going into the company and starting like being involved officially, let's call it that way. So
okay.
during your high school years or perhaps childhood, what were your experiences?
Well, basically started when I was about 12 years old, I think, and I wanted to become a hacker. So I started like trying to learn C++, but when you're 12 years old, it's pretty hard to grasp. At least it was for me. So, and then in like maybe it's called junior high school, I'm not sure, but like before high school, I started learning some web development mostly, and then in high school I continued that route. So yeah, that's basically what I did before. Yeah.
Cool. Uh, I'm just going to give a shout out to Mikhail. Hi, Michael. Sorry. Go Elks. Good to see you guys still contributing to young people and tech community. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. Eric, what was your first introduction into the IT world? What did you do? What did you do before officially starting in the IT?
Well, I actually started programming in high school, but that was just simple stuff in Python. Actually, I was learning for loops and while loops and things like that, and that was so fascinating to me. And the moment I saw this, I knew, okay, this is something that I I want to do for a living because it's cool. And then when I started going to college, then I just had a conversation with my friend, which is today my colleague, and then we just decided, okay, we both love programming, we love web development. It sounds cool. Let's start doing this, and that's basically how we started.
Cool. So yeah, my experience was, for example, in the elementary school, we had a teacher that started to teaching us QBasic and Pascal. So those are very old programming languages. So we were learning how to um, render triangles and some other geometric shapes, do simple tasks with math and stuff like that. Yeah, then later on in high school, I had this experience of having a very good teacher in the IT, which kind of helped us deal with Visual Basic. So Visual Basic was really cool because you had like these building blocks as I saw it, and you didn't have to learn much of coding. So that was pretty cool and got me more into it. And yeah, so my very beginning was the earliest computer that I got was a while ago when I was just a kid, and I it was barely good enough to run Doom on it. Today you have competitions where people run Doom on telephones, on old telephones, like fixed telephones, like the one that you can pick up and call people on. So I don't know if you know about that trend. So Doom runs practically on anything, but at that time, that computer kind of struggled with that also. So that was my way in. Actually, gaming, I think that is a common thing that happens. So yeah, pretty cool to hear that. Um, you all have some experience with the university, as I kind of picked up. What are your thoughts on getting that very applicable knowledge of programming or other IT stuff from the university? I don't want you like, okay, actually, what I'm asking is, what is your comparison when it comes to the things you got from the university? So, what would you share? What would you say helped you in the whole process? Eric, can you perhaps start?
Yes. So first of all, I can only speak for universities here in Croatia, and I think that university can't really teach you how to code, and I mean it can't teach you how to code good enough to land your first job or something like that. But it's university is very good in teaching you how to deal with problems. So it will give you some project, and it will pair you with some strangers, you will have a problem that you have to solve until this date, and it's about problem solving. For that, college is really good, and also you can meet a lot of useful people there. But I really don't think it's a good idea to just rely on formal education if you want to become a programmer developer.
Cool. Anton, what are your thoughts?
No, I mostly agree with Eric, actually. I also think that when it comes to university, like at least here in Sweden, the university is not for preparing you for the job. We also have like another 2-year university kind of, which is more for preparing directly for jobs. So, and that's also my experience. I also studied a bachelor program here in Sweden, and I would say that exactly like Eric said, it's more for solving complex problems, and like even when you don't think you can solve it, somehow you come through and solve it. So that's my and the thing is, I know a lot of people who get jobs without going to university as well. So I wouldn't say it's necessary in that way.
Jesper, what are your thoughts?
Kind of agree as well. What I want to add to what is lacking in university is like one big project, and like really getting into that. I think that's a good way to learn. The good thing about university is I think I got a very broad understanding of many subjects. So when I got new things at my first job, I kind of knew what it was about and like had like basic knowledge of it. So it was pretty good to prepare me for the first job, better than I thought when I finished university. Then when I got the job, I was like, oh, this is good. Good that I know about this and such.
Yeah. It is the thing also that I don't know if anyone mentioned is like connecting you with the community, connecting you with other colleagues, potential future colleagues, and kind of that exchange with other people. I know with Corona now it's somewhat perhaps limited, and the lectures have been transferred somewhat online. But yeah, it is something that is valuable. That connection, that mingling. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. College is great for that. And as I said, I actually met my colleague who I work with today in the college. So it's
Cool.
very useful in that part.
Excellent. So okay, can you share a bit about your first job, first serious quote unquote paid project? Anton, would you like to start?
I think my first serious project or job was in high school. We had like a co-working space two floors beneath our school, and one day like an entrepreneur from that co-working space came up and asked everyone in the school for some web development help, and like fast forward a few weeks or months maybe, and my friend started working there, and then they needed more help with like Node.js and not only like HTML and CSS. So that's when I joined basically, and got my first coding job. So that was my first experience landing a job. It was really accidental almost. So
So what was the shock of being in a real project? What kind of like really sticked in your mind regarding that whole experience? What was different than expected, perhaps?
yeah, I think at that moment it was just me and my friend who was working there. So we were basically doing the whole app ourselves. And it was an app, not a really like solely a web project. It was like an API and an app. And it was really fun. I'm not sure if I have any original thoughts about the experience, but it was just it was really fun and a bit stressful as well, which maybe that part was unexpected. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps that interaction, like you get there is some expectations from the client, and you think to yourself, am I going to do something wrong? There's some pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is also at that stage, the starter was more like they needed to demo this to future customers and stuff. So we had to try to meet certain goals sometimes because they had booked a meeting and we were like, okay, we gotta if we can show this feature, that would be really good. So meeting those, like doing correct estimates and stuff, was really special, which you normally don't have to do when you code yourself, I guess.
You do on your own time and how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We have some comment from Michael. Help me out with this.
So that was the thing I was describing earlier.
Yeah.
He translated for me, which is really
Yeah.
great.
They call it higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So higher vocational education is what Anton described. Great stuff. We had something similar in Croatia, like also 2 years, and you would get a degree, but it was very much oriented on getting the education that is needed for you to get going into some job. But with the reform when it comes to Bologna, as they call it, education type, they kind of changed it. So Jesper, what were your experiences regarding your first paid job or project? Can you share a bit?
Yeah, that was my when I got out of university, I got my first job, and that's the first IT job I had. It was at OCR company. So we scanned documents, translated it to computer text, like invoices, for example, and sent it out to customers.
Cool.
It was when I think back at it, it was a really good onboarding process. I worked closely with my senior developer, and I was a junior application specialist. That was the title. And I worked closely with the people who actually used the product as well. Both the customers, I could like call customers if they had problems or wanted a new feature, and also the people who looked at the program all day when they scanned the documents and then they got into the program, and then I could talk to them that were my colleagues as well. So I could just head over and say, "Do you like a new change, or should I change anything else?" That was really, really good. To like get direct feedback in a small company like that.
Is it weird, or somewhat uncomfortable to call the clients directly? Were you scared of it? So I remember my first calls when you have to call some customer. It's kind of scary.
Could be scary, but I think I had a good attitude about it. Like if they had a problem, my focus is just to solve it. It's like I don't care what caused the problem. If it was my fault, sure. If it was their fault, it doesn't matter. Just what do we need to fix it? So I had a lot of like stressed customers, but still had good conversations with them.
Cool. So we'll dive deeper into that relationship with the senior developer. I'm really interested in that, but we'll go on with the question with Eric. Eric, what was your first project that you really felt the pressure in, and can you share a bit about that?
Yes. Well, my first project was actually a complete disaster because we somehow got on a meeting with one company, and they needed a fully customized web shop, basically, which will be divided into 3 parts. So it's basically 3 different web shops, and it was really complex, and I knew React, but I was a beginner in React, and my colleague was a beginner in Node.js, and this was a complex project. But they asked us, "Can you guys do this?" And we said, "Well, yeah, we can do this." And then when we actually started doing this, we realized, okay, this is not a joke. We are actually not good enough to complete this project, and we actually learned a lot in the process of the development. It was a financial disaster for us, and we didn't meet the deadlines that we had, and the client was not really happy. But in the end, we somehow managed to deliver, and it's all okay today. So basically,
So
we didn't earn much money from it, but we learned so much from it, and that's more valuable than any money, my opinion.
so you kind of jumped into somewhat in the deeper end of the pool and
Yeah.
started going, but you kind of felt the consequences of it. But
Yes.
it was a good learning experience, from what I hear.
Yes, and I actually think that's the best way to learn. It's not something that I recommend, because if you really don't know how to do something, don't do it, because uh, you will create a bad reputation for yourself. It's not good to do. But if you think that something is hard, but you maybe can do it, but you're scared, then by all means you should accept the project and go for it, because you will learn.
Scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, my next question is sort of on what Jesper mentioned, and that was basically what kind of mindset should a person that was in your shoes, or everyone included here, should adopt when joining an IT company? Or should I put it, how should you approach your experienced colleagues? When was it a good time to ask something directly, or to give it your best and Google it and then ask? What is the way of handling things communication wise to when talking to experienced colleagues? And what is the good mindset to adopt in that whole situation? Um, Anton, could you perhaps share your opinion?
So there were 2 questions. One about the mindset and one about how you should approach
Your
senior
experienced
colleagues.
college, yeah. So
Experienced colleagues, yeah.
basically, what kind of a mindset is a good mindset to have as a junior developer?
Mhm.
Let's discuss that. And I think it kind of intertwines with the whole how do you approach experienced colleagues because of the mindset. So
Yeah. I think I'm starting with the second question because
sure.
I saw it before and I just knew an answer directly, because I've had this kind of not issues, but teachings really recently, and that is to if you want to learn something about, like if you have if you're new at a job and you want to learn something about maybe a programming language, or like in 46 Elks there's a whole platform to learn. If you want to really learn it, like you can go and dig for the answers in the code, or like Google it and stuff, and just follow it until you find the answers. And then when you have the answers, you can discuss it with the more experienced colleagues. Like even if you don't know if it's correct, then at least you're acquainted with the issue or problem you had, and like you can learn from it better, I think. But if it's really time limited, I don't think you should necessarily go dig for a while and try to learn it if it's, or maybe if it's like a really important maybe database query or something, you shouldn't take any chances, something like that. Yeah, and then just as a new junior or new programmer, just be honest about what you know, and don't have this mentality that you can't be honest about it, or that you have to like show that you know a lot of stuff that you don't know, for example.
It is, if I kind of detect it correctly, it's about doing your best to kind of make it on your own. So to search around, to look at clues, to Google it, to go on Stack Overflow, whatever, and to have that. I don't know if you ever had a question on Stack Overflow and you describe your issue, and then someone in the comments asks you, but what did you try? So what
Yeah.
exactly did you try before asking us? So it's quite irritating, I think, for someone that is a senior or a more experienced colleague, to have a person approaching and saying, oh, can you just help me, can you guide me through this? Okay, that can be a thing, but doing it all the time is kind of time consuming, and it shows maybe some sort of a unwillingness to do something on your own, like to
Yeah,
try something, to give it a go. Yeah.
definitely.
So yeah. Jesper, can you share a bit about your thoughts on the right quote unquote mindset that a junior has to have, and his or her approach with the experienced colleagues?
Yeah. My mindset, I think, is be really willing to learn. Uh, just pick up everything, try to remember as much as you can, do it yourself. Like if someone shows you how to do something, make sure that you actually also do it, and try it out. And my senior, our IT guys at the other work, like the hardware, the net code people, he showed me something with the servers at my first job, and I was like, what do I need to bring to the session? And he was like, just be prestigeless and listen to everything. Just, yeah, and try to be structured, I think, as well. Always bring a notepad if it's IRL, or just write everything down so you can go back to it. Like I think what I see at 46 Elks is like everyone is so willing to learn, and everyone has this huge document like notes, tips for how to work easier and like remember the tools and such. And I agree with Anton with how to approach seniors. Try it yourself as much as you can if you have time as well. And if you get stuck and like don't know how to Google it even, then it's time to ask for help.
Cool. Eric, what are your thoughts on the mindset
Well,
and how to approach people?
I mostly agree with Anton and Jesper. As a junior, you definitely need to have a mindset that you are here to learn, and that it will take time, and that you need to try a lot of things yourself. When you really don't know something, you go and ask senior, because after all, senior is here to teach you something. And I actually have an anecdote from my experience. A couple of days ago, I got approached by a beginner, and he asked me how to do something in React, and it was a really basic question, and I just told him to Google it. I told him what to Google and how to do it, and he actually did it, and approached me a couple of days later and showed me how he did it, and he actually did a very good job. And uh, it's a good feeling when you can help someone who is willing to learn and who is willing to do something by himself. So I didn't have to put too much work into teaching him something, because you can find it on Google, but he didn't know how to start, so he asked me. And that's basically how you should do things. If you really don't know, then ask, but don't be too annoying. Don't ask for every single little thing that you don't know, because Google knows it all.
So you should like structure your questions. Is that a good way of thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it?
That's actually uh, that's actually a good way. You should structure them, and you should think about what will you actually ask the senior.
Hmm. So that kind of all these experiences you described kind of intervene with the how would you what advice would you give to, let's call it, a younger self or a person that is not quite still in the IT but wants to get into the IT world? What is the kind of first step that that person should do? Eric, could you share a bit?
The first step. Uh, First step is to definitely to try something by yourself. Google, for example, beginner projects that you can do to build a simple portfolio. Then after you learn some basics, it's a very good thing to get a mentor. Get someone, even someone who will pay. So a
Oh.
paid mentorship. Uh, or it can just be a really good course on maybe on Udemy or somewhere, but a mentor can really help you, because sometimes you can spend a lot of time searching something on Google and watching a lot of tutorials, and you will get the answer. But someone who is experienced will be able to help you much faster. It's a basically a shortcut. But
Hmm.
for that, you need to structure a question the right way, and that's why you should start with some projects by yourself alone.
Hmm. So it is getting diving in into the problem. So that's what you're saying. Like
Yeah,
basically get into the tutorials, get a mentor, but start doing something very concretely. If I
yeah.
got it correct.
Something concretely, not just something. Also, you shouldn't be doing just a part of the application. For example, I want to fetch this data. Okay, this is how I do it. I want to create a form. Okay, this is how I do it. No, let's say, okay, I want to build a web shop, and now I have a lot of problems here. I need to do implement user management. I need to implement create, read, update, delete for items. I need to think about SEO and everything, and uh, it will actually show you what. What you have to learn uh, to start working on real projects. Because if you do little things, it's okay, kind of, but you have to put in the work and uh, do something that could be a real project.
Cool. Um, Anton, could you share a bit about what are your thoughts on someone being not any knowledge in IT and wants to get into IT? What is your advice for that person? How to get into IT? Should that person enroll into something? What are your thoughts?
Sure. If they have no previous experience whatsoever, I would first like then it's really about learning some type of programming language. Maybe just pick one that's very popular. You can just Google most popular programming language. Maybe it's
Do you have some
Python.
suggestions? Do you think that some are better for beginners than others?
I mean,
Is Python perhaps a good starter
yeah,
programming language?
just for the simplicity, I would just say Python and just stick with it until you find something else. Because just as that first steps, it's a good language, I guess.
Or Scratch? Scratch is perhaps a little silly. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Scratch.
I know
Uh,
Scratch.
it is a bit silly, but it can build you that logic that you need, perhaps. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess it depends if you want to go the long way or the more like direct way. I mean, if you want to do this whole like Scratch and then maybe learn about like how the memory in a computer works, how does a computer work, like then you go for maybe C++ or something to learn all of that. Then you can go that way. But if you want to like kind of speed way through getting a job maybe or like getting into the IT world generally, I would recommend Python. And then after that, you could go for like a Udemy course, as Eric said, is also really, really good, I would say. Just to, because they often introduce projects and stuff like that for you. And then I would say the biggest hack that I found is to, like, when you have a bit of experience, you can go into job listings and look at what the companies are writing. Like, are they writing that you should know this and this? Then you should learn those things, maybe.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, so then you have, if you learn those things, then you can just apply directly to that company, I guess. So yeah.
Cool. Jesper, what are your thoughts on giving advice to people that are just getting started with no experience, want to get started, have the motivation, but are struggling? Or what is your advice to kind of avoid the struggle and get the results?
Mm-hmm. I would advise them to think about what their interest is, like close to IT interest. For example, if they already have an office work, maybe they use Excel. That's very, very close to programming, if not programming directly. And then get a project, as Eric said. Really important to learn something. You have to work for something, I think. You can't just study a programming language like, oh, this is how a for loop looks like. You need to find a way to use a for loop to make some value for you, or like to see it in action, and then actually finishing the project as well. Like I want to build a website, build a whole website that is usable, like hosted and everything. And I would advise to try with HTML, CSS for beginners as well. It's fun to see what you do. If you write a string, you can see it in the website directly. That's very cool. It's so direct, like what you do. I think that's fun.
There are very cool pages called, there's a bunch of that sort of pages called, for example, one is called Instructables. So it's about having, it's more about IoT. It's more about solving real world problems, let's call them that way. And that can be a good segue into programming, because you solve an actual problem by using technology. You, for example, get a notification or something like that when it starts raining outside, or you get a notification when the humidity of the ground is below a certain level. And that can be very cool for someone that's into agriculture but wants to get into IT. So it's kind of helping the both worlds. It's kind of cool. The cool thing about IT is about mixing everything. So biotechnology with IT, or space exploration with IT and launching rockets and stuff like that, and cars with IT, everything is kind of very much compatible. So that is a cool way of looking at it. Yeah. Very cool to have you all share your experiences and thoughts. I would like to ask everyone that are looking at this video or will be looking at this live stream or will be looking at this video to comment, to give a shout out. I'm pretty sure that everyone here will be willing to help out, give out advice on how to get started. I know I am, and yeah, feel free to share your thoughts about this video and what we said. For ending this conversation, Eric, I just want to emphasize you have a company that deals with certain things. Can you share a bit about that since you are at the very beginning? Let's help you out a little bit. Can you share a bit about what you do, what your colleague does?
Yeah. So basically, we are web developers. My colleague is a backend developer, and he specializes in the Node.js, SQL, MongoDB databases. And I'm a front-end developer, and I specialized in React and Next.js. And our main source of jobs right now is working for other companies. So we are external associates for other, let's just say other companies.
So they kind of load off work that they cannot handle right now, and they
For
you help them out.
example, if let's say that you have a company and you have too much work, but you know that you will have too much work, for example, for 2 months, and you don't want to hire another person just for 2 months because it doesn't make sense. That's where we come in. We are working as external associates, and we will help you for those 2 months.
Cool. Where can we find you?
On LinkedIn, Eric
On LinkedIn.
Hermanish.
Okay.
I use it all the time, and it's the best platform for getting jobs, basically. And that's an also good advice for people that are just starting. Use LinkedIn and be active there. You will get a job pretty easily there.
That's good advice. So yeah, and so LinkedIn has been very popular in the last couple of a year or two. It has been around for over 10 years, but LinkedIn has been very popular because of that business networking, I would say. So yeah, really cool
Yes.
to know. I kind of shared that in the chat, what you just said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you, Anton. Thank you, Jasper. Thank you, Eric. Hopefully we answered some questions, made someone brave enough to join the IT industry. Cool. That's pretty much it. Thank everyone for watching. Thank you for participating. And yeah, talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.